Right, guys, good afternoon. Basically, I wanted to explain to you a few little tips that might help you out with your motorized bike. I would definitely recommend you getting a few things to help you out. Obviously, when you're going out, first of all, and yeah, you're very excited and you get a bit of a buzz and you want to just take your bike out, yeah, that's understandable. But say, for instance, if you're miles and miles away from your house, you will sort of run into problems. Like, for instance, what I did in the past. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was out on my bike, I wanted to sort of take my bike out further and further, and I didn't really think of obviously like the repercussions that obviously can commence with these things. So I'll give you an example. If when I was out before in the past, like when I went to central London and all the way back, and I went to Hertford and all the way back as well, yeah, I didn't realize that obviously the nuts and bolts on these engines wasn't as good as obviously what they should have been, like the fittings and obviously the fixtures. And what I was going to recommend that you guys get is a little toolkit. Now, you can pick up a toolkit such as like a 10mm spanner or a 10mm socket that will be like provided within a pound shop or 99p shop that you can get that's available, and also a puncher kit as well. So that's just two little things that I can recommend that you get, right? And that will help you out a lot. So if you're out miles about, yeah, you're definitely going to need these things 100%. And another thing what I can recommend that you can get as well is like a pannier that you can like attach with a pannier rack on the back of your bike itself. So you can carry all these little bits like to help you out if you're out and about. All right. So instead of carrying a backpack with like loads of heavy stuff in it and whatever, just get yourself a little pannier rack, attach it to the back of your bike, and obviously you can get yourself a decent sort of bag that will go on each side, and obviously it has the zip compartments, it's waterproof. And then another thing that you can also get is like a little tiny aluminium water bottle, and then you can put like two-stroke oil in there as well. So if say for instance you're running out of fuel and there's like a petrol garage down the road, but obviously they haven't got any two-stroke oil, you can't just put straight petrol into these engines, otherwise you actually knacker the engine and it will seize up. All right. But another thing as well I wanted to say is that, say for instance, when I went out as well, like all that way to central London, and I went out all the way to Hertford Central and all the way back, it was a very long journey, but it was at the peak of summer. So there was a lot of flies that kept hitting me in the face. And especially when I was doing something like 45 miles an hour, it was an absolute nightmare. Seriously, you're going there and there's like a billion flies going into your eyes and everything. So make sure, yeah, you get yourself a decent set of glasses. I mean, you can pick up a cheap pair of glasses just for now. Obviously, like not safety goggles or whatever, because you're not actually working on these engines. You're actually just out and about riding on them. All right. So I definitely recommend one of them. But what I wanted to say to you as well, right, is that if, say, for instance, you wanted to capture a little bit of footage, like just think, oh, I really want to get like a bit of footage of me out on my bike, and I'll be able to maybe put it on YouTube, or I can upload it like and show my friends, my family, like what I'm into and whatever. Go on to Google or go on to eBay or say Amazon, right? And you can just type in action camera. Okay. So it's basically like a very cheap version of a GoPro, and it's not even a quarter of the price. It is really cheap. And they still shoot at 1080p. Some of them, you can even get them up to 4K now. And you can attach that to your bike, obviously front and back, and you can get two cameras for like £40 for two. So I mean, you can even get the head mount camera. You can get yourself a crash helmet, like if you really want. I mean, people do end up suffering with head injuries like on these things, which is very dangerous. I mean, I've come off my one before, and I smashed my head on the floor. It's not a really nice, good, obviously thing to do. You end up with head injury, and obviously like you're not in a very good place. So I would definitely recommend some form of sort of crash helmet, protective wear, 100% without doubt. And when you're out and about, especially in England, it does tend to sort of rain a lot all the time. So I would definitely recommend you getting yourself some mud guards. You can pick up cheap mud guards and then put them on the front of your and the back of your bike as well. I mean, they sell them in a pound shop as well. But imagine if it's raining and obviously like all the dirt from the debris is obviously like from the back of the bike, it's going to be splashing all up your back and ruining your clothes. And obviously even from the front wheel itself, like if it's raining, obviously the amount of water that will flick up into your face, it's not a nice thing. So literally like for a very small budget, you can get yourself some decent equipment for your bike, and obviously not just be able to repair it if you're down like, I don't know, say 50, 60 miles away from your house, and you still be able to get back home. So I mean, with these bikes, they are ingenious. I can't knock them at all, but there are going to be sort of small flaws and faults that you do occur with them. So I would definitely recommend a pump. Like for instance, when you're out, you're going to need to get a pump that is obviously going to be matching to the valve and obviously the adapter that you have on the inner tube itself. And like I actually mentioned before, you need to get yourself a puncture repair kit and maybe even a couple of inner tubes. Like make sure you get these inner tubes, but don't just keep constantly riding these bikes and riding the bikes and forget to look after them, because it's always a good idea to degrease your engine as well. So make sure that you actually degrease the engine itself, because the amount of debris and crap and crud that can obviously like just keep collecting on that thing as well. So just every now and again, get yourself a decent degreaser, degrease the engine, but leave the chain alone. Okay, when it comes to the chain, use yourself a fine machine oil on the chain itself. No WD-40, just don't use WD-40. The reason why WD-40, right, has its name is because it only lasts for 40 days. And then after that, it just don't work anymore. I mean, for instance, what I managed to do with a few of my bikes in the past, just to sort of get me out of trouble, is just use any sort of oil that I could find. I mean, it's not really the ideal sort of solution, but you know what? In a time of need and money's a bit tight, and you're thinking, oh, like I really need to use my bike, I'm desperate. You will sort of like use the sort of desperate methods of like using all these, like maybe even cooking oil or whatever you can. I know it sounds silly, but do you know what? It actually works. Yeah, I can't knock it. But obviously, when it comes to your bike itself, yeah. You can even get yourself like an aluminium water bottle, like I mentioned as well. Like you can fill that up with a little bit of two-stroke, put that in your backpack or put that in your pannier bag as well. So if you're out and about and obviously there's a petrol station, but yet no two-stroke oil, you need to have some of these things that's going to help you out. I mean, you can upgrade to obviously a bigger petrol tank, because I think the original kit comes with something like a 2-litre tank or maybe even a 1.5-litre tank. But you can get yourself like a 3-litre tank, or maybe even put a motorbike petrol tank on there if you really want to. But it's basically about keeping the authenticity of these like bikes alive in a way. So you need to look after it and get yourself a decent cleaner for your bike. All right, so anything that's not going to affect your paint or your powder coat or any other finishes that you put on there, just make sure that you spray it up, make sure it looks nice, and obviously just keep it clean. Every time I used to take my bike out, it collects so much debris and dirt from the road as well. Yeah, it's best to obviously clean it at least once a week, maybe twice a week. Like you can't leave it all the time and think, oh yeah, I'll get around to it, No, imagine these things, yeah. Say for instance, like you see like a tool person that's in a tool trade, yeah. They look after their tools, because at the end of the day, that's what earns them money. All right. So a good person or a good worker always looks after their tools, because it's true. That's what my dad used to tell me. And like all my tools, do you know what? They're still immaculate, even since the first day I bought them. So literally every single time that you're using something, make sure you put it back, yeah, in its own little home where it's supposed to be. Don't just think, oh, do you know what, I'll do it later, I can't be bothered, because later never comes. It never ever comes. All right. But yeah, with these bikes, always make sure that you check your tires. Yeah, check your tires all the time, because if they are actually like wearing down, replace them. Yeah, they're cheap enough to replace. They're not that expensive. And like for instance, a lot of other people as well, they have sort of questioned me as well in the past. Oh, I really want one of these kits. I really want a motorized bike, and like I can't really afford it. Do you know what I could say to that bit of advice? Save up. Yeah. I mean, I can't provide you a motorized bike. I'm not going to be able to afford to give a motorized bike to everyone. So do you know what I was told as well? If you can't really afford something at the time, yeah, then you're just going to have to save up for it. I mean, for instance, like you got Christmas coming up around the corner as well. Yeah, these things are great little projects, right, for people to get involved with as well. So say, for instance, if someone's got themselves a motorized bike, someone can buy them parts for their bike engine as well for Christmas. Like, for instance, you can get a carburetor for £20. You can obviously get your 12-volt radio as well, like for the waterproof speakers on the front and the back, so you have a little bit of music when you're out and about, so it's not boring. Yeah, and obviously you can get a 12-volt battery. Like, there's loads of different things. You can get yourself a nice little set of lights. So imagine when you're going out in the dark, yeah, obviously you're going to need to be seen and obviously like see what you're doing as well. So they do other things as well. Like even with the 12-volt system, you got something like indicators now that you can put on the bike as well. Like you can even think of making up your own number plate. I have. So on both of my bikes, I've got a number plate for the blue one, for the red one as well. And obviously even for the black one that I'm trying to rebuild, and obviously for the customized green one that I've got upstairs in the spare bedroom. So there are sort of projects that I've got that I need to do and obviously complete, but I will get around to it. But if, say for instance, like I said, with Christmas coming around the corner, ask a few of your family members. Like I know that they're interested in maybe getting you an Xbox game, or maybe your PS4 game, or even a PC game, whatever. But if your like ambition, your main ambition and your main goal is to obviously put a bit of time and effort into something you're really interested in. I'll give you another example. Like for instance, with Xbox, yeah, I've noticed this. I got myself an Xbox as well, yeah. If, say, for instance, you complete a level, yeah, you get what? An achievement that comes up. Now, to me, in my eyes, that's not really achieving anything. So, I mean, it's not. But for instance, when you're actually like making something or building something with your hands, you have that proudness inside you and think, you know what? I built that. I'm proud of that. And you get to sort of showcase your work to other people that get to see it. So like I said, with Christmas coming around the corner, if you want, you can ask your family members to like buy you a few little bits like for your bike, and then you can sport it up and then you can make it look better. Even if you wanted to get it powder coated as well. I mean, I got my bike powder coated and sandblasted for £100 per bike. So that's cheap enough. And obviously with that, what I've done as well is I handcrafted, like I hand built other parts as well to go with the color that I wanted. And obviously like the other colors, I wanted a different color, then I had that done. Same with the red bike and the blue bike. I was thinking, oh, there's certain parts I need to make, like the number plate bracket mount. So I made that. And obviously like the sprocket I had to drill and obviously like sort of tap out the holes and everything. So I've done that. But there were certain parts that I put all together. So I put all the bike frame and obviously like the parts together, and I thought I'm going to bag them up, so that part's going to be red and obviously the other parts are going to be black, or the other parts are going to be that. So it was a good idea. But like I said, trust me, with Christmas coming around the corner, yeah, you got a few little people that's obviously like interested, or you're telling them about your project and yeah, I want to do that. So just say to them, look, I've got a little like a few parts on eBay or maybe Amazon that I really want. Is there any chance if I send you the link, you can just order that for me? And when it comes, yeah, you know for a fact that your bike build has actually come from other people. It's actually helped you out as well. I mean, I know that you put it together yourself, but if other people are helping you out, especially when a few of these bits are slightly expensive, then yeah, without a doubt, it does help. But like, for instance, another person, yeah, has said to me, or I mean, like a few people have even said to me, like me as well, I want to get one of these little tiny heads, the little round ones that you see on eBay for like £19, £20. Is it going to help my engine? No, it's not. The only thing that's going to help your engine is to blow up, because it's not going to be able to cool down in time. I mean, think about it, yeah? Like the high performance head that I've got, I spent a little bit more money on it. But I've noticed that my engine, it does not heat up whatsoever. It doesn't get hot at all. Like for instance, it's about the amount of air that is obviously going to be able to cool this thing down. When you're doing like 45, maybe even 50 at a push, yeah, miles an hour, then you're going to need something to rapidly cool this thing, because if it gets really, really hot, it will sort of blow up. So yeah, the best thing to do is obviously just take your time with these things. Don't sort of think, oh, I'm just going to upgrade this and mod this. Ask advice. Yeah, there's so many people, there's so many groups that are out on YouTube as well. You just ask them advice. That's the best thing to do, because it's not like people are just going to go out there and take the piss and have banter and like mug people off. That's not what we're here for. We're here to give friendly advice to other people that's interested within these sort of like little bikes. So to be honest, it's all about helping your fellow person. That's why I make videos on YouTube as well. I'm not here to say take money. I'm not here to like give bad advice. I'm giving you the absolute truthful bits of advice that I can give. Yeah, and obviously there are parts that I don't even know. So that's why I ask different people on like in the Facebook groups, and like I ask them, oh, what is the best sort of say heads to use? What is the best sort of like gauge, like sort of obviously to do the actual magneto? And there's so many different like things, even like the gaskets. I mean, the gaskets that you can buy from eBay, they are sort of good. But my dad used to tell me years ago, look, I've got gasket material down my garage. If you want, you can have as much as you want of it. And do you know what I found? The actual hole punches for the gaskets. So I can actually make a proper decent gasket. So I can buy myself the actual gasket set from eBay or China, and it's only like £2, not even that. And when it comes, I can duplicate all of them and use them as templates to put them over and transfer them patterns over to my proper decent gasket material. Then as I cut them out, hole punch the whole lot. And the second that I've got the proper decent, like a proper decent motorbike set of gaskets now. And they're never ever going to go bad. And another thing that you could use as well, like after you sealed your engine as well, so where you got the actual the engine with the gasket, use red hematite. Red hematite is a great gasket sealant, and it doesn't leak oil. It doesn't like obviously give you any problems. It will keep a lot of like compression within the certain engine cases, and you won't end up with any like leaks or anything like that. So that's just a few little tips and bit of like advice that I can give everyone out there, and I hope you enjoy watching the video. All right, but I will be uploading very, very soon again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't actually forget to subscribe, and I want you to comment as much as you can. So if there's anything that I've missed out on, comment below and I'll get back to you. All right, but don't forget to share the video and like it as well. All right, I wish you all well and good luck with all your little projects out there. All right, take care.